Welcome to Epic Elite Servants of the Overlord, level 24 now. I picked this one because the end fight can be a little intense. Some of the other fights on the way can be too. Couple gearing items have changed. Got the Epic Torque now. Got that slotted up with Diamond of Insightful Wisdom +2. Makes it minimum level 24. Otherwise it would be minimum level 20. Not a whole lot of other benefit over the regular torque. This has spell penetration 3. The heroic torque has 2, and then the heroic torque has wizardry 3. This has wizardry 6. Also have the set bonus going on for the planar focus of prowess. It's a +15 artifact bonus to PRR. Also got insightful con 3 on that. And this is the other half of that set bonus, Agony Knife in the Dark. Got it slotted up with Rubia Glaciation 114. It's a very nice weapon for Druids. It was really disappointing that they did not put a scimitar in the Caught in the Web raid. I mean, that was the raid that came out when Druids were released, so you'd think that they would have put a scimitar in the raid. That would have made sense, but they didn't. In any event, this is a really nice dagger. It's the only weapon from Caught in the Web that Druids are proficient with. The only one-handed weapon that Druids are proficient with. So if you want to get a set bonus with a one-handed weapon, a Caught in the Web set bonus, the planar focus or the planar conflux, then you have to go with the Agony Knife in the Dark, unless you want to. Well, I guess you could just be non-proficient with like a Celestia or something. So this has got improved deception, disintegration, entropic. It's keen, phlebotomizing. This is fully upgraded. This is tier 4. This is not what the item looks like out of the box. It actually does have a better profile than the Epic Kronzek's Cruelty that I was using before. It's a higher base damage rating. The crit range is 17 to 20. The other was the Epic Kronzek's Cruelty is 15 to 20, but the base damage rating is higher on this one. Okay, enough of that. Everything else is the same. Got the Epic Wall of Wood. Quickly gonna go over Evocation 2, Fire Absorption 33 with Feather Falling, Vile Blasphemy, Guardian's Ring slotted with Strength, crafted Electrical Absorption 33 with Con 6, Epic Cloak of Flames with Good Luck +2, Charisma 6, Green Steel Mineral 2 +45 hit points, Goggles of Important Opposition +150 spell points, Old School Epic Red. I think I'm going to pick up the Heavy Blue next level. With the armor up changes, I think it makes it a worthwhile investment for me because I do have a bunch of Epic Past Lives to knock out. And the armor bonus from the Epic Blue is better, and I think it's going to fill in a gap because next level I think we're going to be missing Ice Lore, and I really don't want to give it up. And that's got some universal lore, I think 9% once it's upgraded. Epic Braces of Wind with Intimidate and Spellcraft +11, and a crafted Ring of Corrosion and Ice Lore with False Life 30 in the green slot. not going to be able to open, or yeah, I'm not going to be able to open the chest inside of this door, but you still want to open it up because it does open the way for a shrine and actually a few thousand experience just to get these 2 levers. $2,800 for pulling 2 levers. I'll take that. Big fight around the corner. This actually will cause unsuspecting pugs on Epic Elite to wipe if they're not prepared for this. I like to put my spell absorption item on for this fight because there are a lot of spellcasters, but they're not going to be a problem for us. If you don't have a way to crowd control these guys, all those casters can overwhelm your party, especially if you got like a couple guys that are running ahead here and they just don't know what they're getting themselves into. They're going to be dead before the rest of the party catches up to them. And then if they were like your 2 melees that were supposed to be taking the blows, and the people, you know, that are left just may not be very well prepared to take it on shorthanded. But it's funny to watch. So I lost 28 charges off my Ion Stone from that experience. How about that? So we could do a little bit of damage with the weapon. You know, you're not gonna clear out whole rooms with it, but as I mentioned in my build post, you know, you can do supplemental melee damage with this build. Now, these Hezrus can be problematic for some groups, but they are very susceptible to being blinded, so that neutralizes them in a big way, or helps to neutralize them. Looks like we have a champion. 2 champion Hezrus. They also fall down easily from earthquake. And Hezrus are also susceptible to fire damage. It's kind of counterintuitive, because they like to hang out with devils and demons. They are a demon, actually. But they're immune to electrical damage. That's just an optional that way. Gonna skip that. Gonna skip all the optionals for this run. It's another optional over there. So one of the things you can, one of the sort of tricks you can do there is just run past all those fire reavers, quickly take out these guys, and then what's going to happen is those fire reavers will fall down here, and then you can just run back up. But the sort of the trick is that you have to kill these guys quickly, otherwise the fire reavers are going to come down here and give you a hard time, making it so that you can't open the door, and you can't try to use this ward until the 2 Hezrus and or if you're doing that different difficulty, it might be different number of mobs, but the mobs that were here in front of the barrier have to be killed before you can open it. So I've got the Reavers here now blasting me. I'm probably not going to be able to get this flame ward. Probably just going to keep getting interrupted. Hey, we got it. So you can grab the crest, and then you can just run out. And now you don't even have to deal with the fire reavers because they are trapped in the pit. Haha, today is mine. Now, of course, this build has the capability of handling those. I just want to show you a little trick there if you're zerging it, or you know, you're with a group that maybe is having a hard time with those kinds of mobs on EE. Lots of shrines in this quest too, so don't be afraid to really unload. They're hard to go back to though if you're soloing this on a Druid. So, you know, you don't have DDO, and there are spots that you cannot climb back up. There are some spots though that you can climb back up that you may not realize that you can. See if I can remember to point those out. Now here we're just getting to crest. We already got one in that last room where we trapped all the fire reavers. Now we got that one. That's an optional up there. You don't get anything special for these optionals. You do get some XP, but it's more efficient just to skip them. Some of these optionals do take a little bit extra time. Actually, I haven't tried getting back up here. Another shrine. Actually, we can do these spiders first. I just got doing Servants of the Overlord, and you know, I've gone toe to toe with Karis many times on Epic Elite, but I don't usually do it at this low a level. I did it last level actually at level 24, and I don't usually have Epic Red Dragon scale, but I was able to just stand there and let him beat on me without even shield blocking. He was hitting me, but you know, it'd probably take him about 20 seconds of me doing absolutely nothing for him to kill me. Rakshasas can be a pain because they have evasion, but you have, remember, evasion mobs are not a problem on a Druid caster because you have so many spells with no save whatsoever, okay? Both of your Creeping Colds, no save. Ice Storm, no save. A lot of people forget about that one. Storm of Vengeance, no save for the acid damage. Sleet Storm, that's just crowd control, but there's no save. And Produce Flame, no save. So, just really, really awesome. This is an optional here where you fight a named Hellhound, get an extra chest. Gonna skip it. You're saying, I know that, Ginger. I've done this quest 1,000 times. So, a couple of videos I mentioned that I made one small change from my build post. I picked up Undying Vanguard instead of the 3rd point Constitution in the Unyielding Sentinel tree because I just wanted to play around with it because, you know, that's the kind of ability that's a raid saver right there. You know, you get 10,000 temporary hit points. You know, the raid's going bad, a bunch of people are dead, you hit that, you know, now you got a buffer, you can start raising people, you know. But I found another use for it. I haven't really done any raids yet, not any high-end raids, but I was doing Epic Elite Storm the Beaches, and those damn ballistas, oh my god, do they do a lot of damage. And there was one spot where there's 3 ballistas right there you gotta deal with at the same time. So I just hit that, no problem. But then I did die right at the end. We had already killed the boss, the crystal. It was the very last ballista, and I had hit it with a creeping cold, and I was like dancing around it. And right as it went down, it got me. I didn't even look to see if I got a penalty for that, but it was pretty funny. I was two-manning it with somebody. I think that was probably maybe about my 4th-ish death this life. One time was pretty early on in Sorrow Dusk. I stopped in a trap, a poison trap, and this is, you know, before you get elemental form or anything. And I stopped to look down at the chat box where one of the pugs that was with me said, "Watch out for the trap." So it was just wonderful irony that I stopped in a trap, looked down at the chat box while a person was warning me to look out for the traps, and then I died. In a quest that has no shrines. So here we got, you know, all these evasion archers, but we're just going to throw Storm of Vengeance and an Ice Storm on them and let it chew them up. You know, so don't worry about trying to hit them with Call Lightning, because you've got a whole toolbox of spells to draw from. And this is one of the reasons why on a Druid caster, you don't really have to worry about getting those uber high saves. You know, that's like traditional caster mentality. Like when you're a sorc or a wizard, yeah, you gotta have high saves. And there are a lot of the spells that, you know, they have that, you know, it's you know, you can't fail them. You can't fail if you throw in Insta-Deaths and stuff, you know, like you don't want to fail those. But with the Druid, you know, you just got so many tools to draw from, so many spells that don't have a save, that you don't, you know, I really feel like investing in, you know, like mid-60s, 70 saves, like that's just a waste of resources, in my humble opinion. You know, I'd rather spend those resources on survivability or something. And if I got mobs that are making saves against, you know, one of my spells, I'll just use different spells on them. I was just having a conversation with a pug, I guess it's a few levels back now, but just how there's so many people that still think that druids are lame, you know, and there's so many people, you know, they're used to playing their like arcanes or whatever, and you know they'll play druid for like 4 or 5 levels, and they go, oh, the druid's lame, you know, my sorc's better. You're not really giving them a chance and not adjusting to the differences in the play style and the advantages that druids have over like arcanes, for example. Like the heavy, you can wear heavy armor, you can wear medium armor with no extra feat, or the heavy armor with the feat. You know, your arcane can't wear heavy armor, period. I mean, they're going to take so much arcane spell failure that it's just going to be impossible. And with that heavy armor, having all that extra protection is so awesome. So I've said it many times, like even if you don't want to tank raid bosses, that extra survivability is so valuable, and you get it for such a small investment. 1 feat. That heavy armor proficiency now lets you wear, you know, heavy dragon plate and get all that AC and PRR and MRR for 1 feat. Totally worth it on any Druid build, in my opinion. In any Druid caster build. You know, as long as it's not an evasion build. You know, if you're going to rogue or something because you want to do traps, you know, that's a different story. For what it's worth, you know, if you are here with a group, and you probably know this, but just in case you don't, you're not locked out of this end fight. If you get low on resources, you can always detour your group out. Go use one of the mini shrines up to this point. You know, I'm sure you didn't use one of them, and then just shrine up and come back in. This wave of archers lets you know that the bosses are next. Now, if you know, you're here and you're solo on the side of the Druid, you don't have a way to get back out. One of the things you can do, if you've got a torque, you can just use these archers and torque up to full mana. Nothing else is going to spawn until they're dead, so you've got all day long. And you know, if you're following my build and you're using the heavy armor and you got the high AC and PRR, you can easily make up the resources with your torque that would be required to heal yourself, or to keep yourself healed through it. I'm going to sit here for a minute so you can see. You may have seen in some of my other videos where I do demonstrations of how the torque can fill up your mana bar pretty quickly. Now the smaller numbers, the single digit numbers, those are from the Vial Blasphemy that's still ticking, but it just ended. So any of the blue numbers that you're going to see at this point are going to be from the torque, the plus 18. Actually, they might be from the Conc Op, the Concordant Opposition Green Steel, but that item procs a lot less than the torque. But here I've only got 4 archers now. So if you did want to torque up, you would definitely want to leave all of those archers in place. And for what it's worth too, Uh, you can have multiple coordinate opposition items. One can be like an item that you wear, and then one can be a weapon. But if you're using multiple weapons or multiple wearable items, they will not work in concert with each other. So basically, you can have two, a weapon and an item, if you really want to. I actually do have a concordant opposition scimitar, but it's not necessary. If you have the torque, that thing procs enough. Alright, let's kill these clowns. So this Hezru that's about to spawn, the Hezru boss, can be pretty tough. Let's see how we stand up to him at level 24. Then we got this caster to deal with too. So usually what I like to do if I'm in here with a pug is I just hold the Hezru's attention while everybody else beats on the caster. But soloing this, I get everybody's attention. Now I do have examine hotkeyed. I do highly recommend that. That's something I didn't learn until a few months ago, that you could actually hotkey examine. But you really should get used to examining your mobs when you're on a druid that's going to be dotting up, because as I've emphasized before, you really do not want to overwrite your own dots. Otherwise, if you're overwriting your own dots, your own creeping colds, you're missing out on the highest damage. Because this is a backloaded spell in that the damage ramps up. The first tickings are low, and then as the name suggests, it creeps up the damage, so that it's this final couple of ticks that are your highest damage. And if you're overwriting your own dots, then you're really just screwing yourself. You're just wasting resources. It's unfortunate that it works that way. They're not as user-friendly in that sense as like an arcane or a divine dot, which just adds to the time, which is totally awesome. But I do feel like, despite that one disadvantage, that this is the creeping colds are the best dots in the game, and the reason why I like them so much is because of the low cooldown time. Every other dot in this game, I guess. Maybe not Black Dragon Ball, but I guess those sort of more traditional dots, because that's not a dot that can be like triple stacked. Like I'm thinking of like Nyax, Biting Cold, and Divine Punishment, and all those. Like they have a really long cooldown time, and you cannot cast those on multiple mobs. Like you can really only dot up one mob, because if you're going to try to triple stack that to really get the big damage out of it, there's no way you can hit multiple mobs with it. You have to keep doing it on the same mob. But with Creeping Cold and Greater Creeping Cold, the cooldown time is like 2 or 3 seconds, so you can sit there and hit mob after mob after mob, and you don't have to worry about losing your triple stack. And even if it's not triple stacked like traditional dots, it's still doing awesome damage. So I really like the fact that you can just rapid fire it on multiple mobs. Now for what it's worth, the Hezru doesn't have to die. You just have to kill the caster here to complete the quest. And I'm going to demonstrate that. A lot of people don't know that. But the Hezru is just an optional. Actually, I don't even know if he's considered an optional. I don't know why I'm moving around. I don't habit. So I've used nothing to heal myself except Cocoon and Renewal. Okay. Now I'm going to let this guy beat on me just so you can see the kind of damage that he does, but I just want to illustrate that point that you don't have to kill him to complete the quest. Boom. 93,000. Gotta love it. So let's see, I'm just going to stand here. Let's see what he's doing. 73, 11. That was a spell. 74. So he's doing 70-ish damage to me. And that's with 146 armor class, 188 PRR, and 79 MRR. Well, the MRR is not really helping me much against him. But he is casting spells on me, so it's helped me a little. So if I shield block against him, like if I was just going to be holding his aggro, now I've got a little bit of DR, I should be taking less damage from him. A little bit, not much. Oh, that time he hit me for more. Ah, so he's not even an optional. I didn't even get any experience for him. You know, optionals, you can get the experience for them even after the quest is complete. Not for things like breakables and killing mobs, but for if it's like the kind of optional that would give you XP. So that's pretty lame that he's not worth any XP. Well, thanks for watching though. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. If you have questions about my build, you can respond on the DDO forums. And if you happen to be on Sarlona, you are welcome to send me a tell.